Okay, so we're going to be learning about scatterplots and trend lines today. So a scatterplot is just a different type of graph. We've been working on graphs for like 2 months now, so hopefully we feel good enough about it to be able to do this. So the first thing we're going to talk about is creating a scatterplot. Okay, we're creating a scatterplot from scratch. We have our data here. What we're going to do is we are going to create a graph for the data. Now, if I have a scatter plot, that means I'm basically just graphing all of the points. There might be everywhere, they might be close together, but I'm just taking these x values and these y values and putting them on my graph. So, a scatter plot is a graph with points plotted that show a relationship between two sets of data. So, just like when we did linear relationships, the first set is going to show x, and the second set is going to show y. Okay? This is considered bivariate data because there's two variables. So I could change the study time and I can change the test score. So both of them can be variables. All right, so what we're going to do is we have to start by labeling our x and y axis. So our x values on our chart represent what? Study time. So we're going to go down here and label this study time. Make sense?
Yeah.
Make sure you're writing this down on your notes. Then our y values represent what? Test scores. Whoops. Okay, test scores. Everybody good with those two labels?
Yes.
So now let's look at what we want our scale to be. Okay? Our study time starts at 15 and goes by fives. So what's the highest number of our study time? Yes?
32.
No. Carly?
45.
45. 45 is the highest for study time. So we know that this is going to be 0, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So what do you want to count by? Fives. Let's count by fives. What I'm going to do is I know that I'm counting by fives, but I'm only going to label every other one by tens, just so my x-axis doesn't get super crowded. So I skipped lines, but it's still counted by fives. All right, now our test scores. The highest is what? What's the highest test score? Casey?
92.
92. So, what do you think we should count by on test scores? What do you think we should count by on test scores? What do you think? Isaac?
10s.
10 sounds great. Because we know pretty much that the highest grade you're going to get on a test is a 100, unless you got lucky and got bonus points or something. Does anybody have questions on how we did this part? Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to plot our points. So our first point is 15 and 65. So we're going to find 15 and then go up to 65 and put a dot there. Then we have 20, 68. And we're going to put a dot there. 25, 64. 30, 68. 35, 52.
Dang, a lot of people failed this test.
Must have been a hard one. 40, 89. 45, 92. Anybody have questions on how to create a scatter plot? We're good with this? It's pretty simple, right? We're just plotting points. It's not always going to look like a line, okay? Right now, we don't really have, if I was to say, okay, what's the relationship between study time and test score? Well, until we get up to 40, there's not really a difference, right? After 40 minutes, it seems to make a big difference, but before that, it doesn't really seem to differ very much. So we're going to kind of start drawing conclusions from our scatter plots. All right, interpreting scatter plots. The association describes how sets of data are related. So if I have a positive, what these are called are correlations. Okay, so it's how the x and y value are related to each other. Okay, you can kind of get that it's called correlation when it says no correlation down here. So we're going to draw examples of those correlations. So a positive correlation is going to have dots.
Oh gosh.
Well, those are kind of lines, but it's fine. And it's going to have dots that increase like in a positive way. So if I was to draw a line in the middle of those dots, my line is going to be going in a positive direction. So make sure you did your dotting. All right, now negative. It's going to go in a negative direction. Linear means it looks like a straight line, okay? See how this is curved? That would be nonlinear. And then we have no correlation.
Oh gosh.
Dots everywhere. Okay, we have another important vocabulary word here. It's called an outlier. Has anybody ever heard of the word outlier before? Would anybody like to guess what it means? Carly?
A dot that lays outside the lines. I don't know.
Kind of. Yes, Tommy?
Kind of like the odd one out.
Kind of, yeah. Those are both very good ways to describe that. So it's
Good morning, teachers. I'm so sorry for this. I'm going to call a list.
all right, sorry about that, people that are watching the video. Okay, so an outlier is a data point that does not follow the pattern. So like right here, if I'm looking at my test scores with my study time, what would you say the outlier might be? What would you say the outlier might be? Tristan?
35, 52.
Right, because that's the only one that went down significantly based on when the test score rose. The rest of them kind of had a steady rise, but that 52 kind of messes it up. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Anybody have questions about scatterplots? Awesome. I'm gonna pause this. Okay, I'm gonna separate the other one into another video so I don't have 17-minute videos.